All right, guys, we just closed on a deal here in Houston, Texas. And I'm going to tell you right now, this was a unicorn deal. And what do I mean by a unicorn deal? Let me tell you right now, this seller, he wanted essentially 85% of his market value of what the property actually appraised for. Not only did he want 85% market value, he wanted a lease back, not for a couple weeks, not for 6 months. He wanted a lease back that literally stated that he could stay in the property until death. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what kind of crazy deal is this? Well, listen, that's the type of real estate deals that we deal with. Not all deals are this way. We deal with smooth deals, easy deals, fast deals. This one was actually somewhat pretty quick with the circumstances that were given. But this is a deal where most companies and most people would have absolutely gave up. They would have absolutely quit on the transaction. But Freedom Hawk Equity did not quit on the transaction. And I'm going to tell you a few different things that we did to make it work and to make it profitable, not only for the company, but for the title company, for our TC team, for the seller, and for the buyer, and for the neighborhoods. This is the powerful value that we bring to the marketplace when we acquire distressed assets and distressed situations, and we transform them into valuable transactions that get the job done. Now listen, what are some things that we did? Number one, we got to give maximum kudos to our team here at Freedom Hawk Equity, Jacob Dameron on the acquisition side and Brenda Quintaneros on the disposition side. These two people literally created a unicorn deal and they made it happen with precision. Okay, so Jacob on the front end on acquisitions, when that lead came in, by the way, the seller wanted more than 85% of market value, by the way, okay? He wanted more. The seller came in hot and heavy, right? He came in with demands. He dealt with 3 to 4 other companies that gave him the lazy thinking that this industry provides, right? Well, you know, we'll give you $100,000 for the deal. That's lazy. Okay, of course $100,000 is going to work on the deal. Why would it work on the deal? You're buying it at 40% on the dollar. Of course it's going to work. Lazy thinking, not even looking at the seller's situation, not even thinking outside the box. How do I monetize this transaction? But how do I bring value for the seller and for the marketplace? Jacob thought outside the box. He told the seller, number one, we had to adjust the price point that the seller was asking. He was asking for essentially 100% of market value. Well, there has to be a little bit of a trade because we're bringing creativity and we're bringing a solution to the seller situation. So Jacob got the seller to agree to 85% of market value. Now you might be thinking, Blake, 85% of market value? What the hell is this? I need 50% deals. See, this is where the marketplace goes wrong. I don't care about the percentage of the deal. I just need to know I can monetize the deal. I just need to know that there's an exit. I just need to know that there's a buyer. That's the whole game here. Everybody has it twisted up. Well, you got to be 40% on the dollar. Well, let me tell you right now, you keep with that mindset, you're going to be out of business real quick because the marketplace is changing. You got to be fast, fluid. You got to be quick. You got to think, how do I monetize this situation? If you're an acquisition company, how do you take this deal and take it all the way to the finish line? Some deals are going to go through different exits. You got to figure out which exit is going to be able to go down the line and be able to monetize. So Jacob got the seller to agree to 85% of market value. Not only that, he loosened up some of the constraints with the lease, but the lease still went down the way it went down, the way the seller wanted to go down. Jacob went to meet with the seller multiple times, okay? We fronted the seller cash advance because the seller needed it for bills and for living expenses. And Jacob contacted this seller every single day. And we talked through many different challenging situations because the seller had all kind of anxieties in this deal because he's asking for a unicorn deal. He's asking to basically pull out all the cash in the property, all the cash out of the property. And then he's asking to stay in the property until he dies. Not a year or 6 months, until he dies. Okay, just want to get that very clear because what we did on this deal was amazing. Jacob talked to this seller every single day. met with him. Okay, Jacob actually helped the seller contact one of his billing companies and help reconnect his internet and all. I mean, it's crazy, right? All these different things, because that's what we do. We're here to solve problems. Jacob was the person on the front end that built rapport with the seller and helped the seller feel like we're going to get the job done, which we did. Now, Brenda, on the disposition side, let me tell you about Brenda. So when Brenda started marketing this deal, there was multiple buyers and real estate agents, you little real estate agents out there with your small thinking. You can't do this. This is not a deal. No one's going to do this. No buyer is going to let the seller stay in the house until he dies. That's impossible. Is it? Because Brenda got it done. Brenda got it done. Brenda found the person, the buyer, who sees maximal value in this situation, who is actually going to allow the seller to stay in the property until he dies. That's literally in the lease. Literally written in the lease. Literally, it says that. And you're like, wow, I didn't even know that was possible. Anything is possible because the buyer saw the value. The buyer, Brenda did a phenomenal job because she found the buyer that wanted a long-term rental turn freaking key that just brought in rental income every single freaking month. And that's what she did. That's what she did. She had multiple buyers, multiple agents. Number one, obviously, hit her with low offers, right? Yeah, will you take 125? No, we will not take 125. That's not a deal. It's not a deal for you. It's a deal for us. There's a difference. Brenda, I'm going to tell you about Brenda. She's literally, I think, the best in the city of Houston with finding the right buyer for the right deal. I'm dead serious. She is a beast. She found this buyer, and this buyer is so happy. So happy. They get the freaking close on a property, and they get the cash flow this thing, well, until the seller dies. And then they'll probably go rent it out again. Property only needs maybe 5 to 10 grand of work. We're talking carpet, some minor cosmetic stuff, but it doesn't even need to be done immediately. So this was a miracle deal. This was a unicorn deal. We gave the seller 85% of market value. And we did a lease back with the seller where they literally can stay in the property until death. I'm going to tell you, in this industry, we think way too tiny. We think in boxes. We've been taught and we've been conditioned to, on the acquisition side, to devalue what we bring to the marketplace. I'm going to tell you right now, there's so much value that Freedom Hawk Equity brings to the marketplace. We bring cash to a seller. We bring an asset to a buyer. We provide our transaction team to be paid, okay, to monetize their skills. We provide a transaction for the title company because there's no money unless they do deals. We also provide an opportunity for the neighborhood because that property will be rehabbed. It will be brought up to 2025 standards. So we raise the value in the marketplace in the neighborhood. It's a good win all the way around. And I think in this business, people get way too caught up in this whole 70% minus, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. Yeah, if you're a fix and flipper and you're just looking to do $50,000 flips and okay, you keep doing you. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're an acquisition company, it is time to evolve and transform and think outside the box. If you're thinking too linear, like too straight line, I always say deals are circles, not straight lines. People think way too small here. Well, if it doesn't fit the buy box, I can't get a buyer. Our team can and does on a daily basis. So I'm gonna tell you right now, doing transactions is not just about 70% minus freaking ARV. It's about this. Can I provide value for the seller? It's either yes or no. Can I acquire this property where it can monetize to a buyer? I didn't say fix and flipper. I didn't say that. I said buyer. I didn't say landlord. I said buyer. There's a big difference. People get so caught up in has to be a fix and flipper. I got to sell it to a fix it. Okay, well, keep doing you. Buyer. Can this property be an asset for a buyer? Those are the only two questions that we have to answer. And it simplifies the deal-making process. Can I provide a solution for the seller? If I acquire this property, is there a buyer that will pay for it? Where we can monetize the deal, where there's margin in the deal, margin for the company, margin for the seller, margin for the buyer. If the answer is yes to both of those, folks, you got yourself a deal. It doesn't matter who buys it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, our team finds the right buyer every single time. That's the difference. That's the difference between Freedom Hawk Equity, a lot of other companies out there, and especially on the front end with our acquisition team. We think outside the box. We come up with solutions. We're quick. We're responsive. We don't quit on deals. This guy went to 4 different companies and they all told him the same BS that every other. Will you take $100,000 for it? Lazy thinking, guys. Y'all keep being lazy. We're going to keep doing deals. Let's roll.